You're watching Tech Talk in affiliation with Tech for Techs. We're a community that supports independent trade with the help of vendors and distributors. We're live every Thursday at 8 p.m. London time, and we'll be streaming to Facebook and YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. You can listen to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, Google, TuneIn, and many more. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, and your host, Philip Griffiths.
Hello everyone and welcome to Tech for Tech Talk. In this episode we're going to be talking about customer service. This is a live show where we help your IT business grow. Today I'm joined by Tim, Ian and Will. Well, luckily we are joined by Tim, Ian and Will because we nearly didn't have anyone on the show. Everyone got stuck in traffic and so forth today, so luckily we're all here. So if you are watching today, please make sure you comment in the comment section so we know who you are, and also say where you're from as well so we can give you a shout out. So first of all, we'll say hi to Cormy, the King of Ireland. He seems to be fine. I've been looking at some of his posts on Facebook recently. He does worry me sometimes, that guy does. So, again, if everyone can hear us and see us, please comment. That way we know, obviously, we are live on all the channels. So there we go. So, right, okay. So chat seems to be a little bit lagged behind, but it is there. So, right, okay. So, first of all, let's go on to Tim. Tim, if you want to introduce yourself, tell everyone who you are, what you do, and if you've got any tips or stories for the day.
Hi, good evening. So my name's Tim. I run, as it says on below, if you see the name, TKM PM and IT Solutions in North Yorkshire. I'll say I've got a tip for today. And what I would say is don't underestimate the power of getting involved in the local community and trying to get activity groups set up, certainly like after school clubs, that kind of thing. It's good for the reputation, it's good for local recognition, and it's free marketing if it, provided it all works. And so yeah, don't ever underestimate cross marketing that way. It costs nothing at the end of the day apart from effort.
That's it, and a lot of people are always saying that they've not got any work, and well, there's something to put your effort into. Let's just go on to chat. So it looks like we've got a few people who are definitely watching us. I can see the numbers saying we have. So we've got Richard Creedy saying evening all, can see and hear. That's good. We've got Alison saying hi guys. Alison from EADR, that's East Anglian Data Recovery. We've also got Facebook users saying evening as well. Richard Creedy is saying evening again. I was spelling it correctly this time. And we've got Paul as well saying evening, and he's from Neo Computers. Again, if you want to name the company you're working for, feel free to put it in chat and we'll give you a shout out. And again, if you've got any comments, information, anything you would like people to know about customer service, how you do it or how not to do it, feel free to comment in the comment section. Right, let's move over to Ian now. So we've got Ian next. So if you'd like to introduce yourself, Ian, tell everyone who you are, what you do, and if you've got a tip story for us today.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Ian. I am the owner of IPC Solutions in sunny Malden in Essex. It's been quite an interesting week work-wise. Quite a lot of the stuff the tips I was going to actually mention, I'm going to be mentioning in the customer service section. But I've been reading a lot, quite some interesting information about the Intel Alchemist. GPU that they're going to be creating as a alternative to the RTX 3070 and RX 6700 XT. It looks as though it's going to be competing in the 1080p stage and probably about the same price or cheaper, but we will see, as it is Intel after all. So that's going to be interesting to keep an eye on over the coming months, especially from chats with my our distributors earlier this week. GPU shortage is going to get even worse in the next 2 months, as well as a lot of other components. So I would say, if you can, stockpile not GPUs but CPUs, maybe motherboards, because I think there's going to be a shortage of everything in the next couple of months. And just keep a real good, I mentioned it probably my last show, about keeping a really good inventory, which I did myself, actually practice what I preached. However, where you keep that inventory or whereabouts it's located is a different kettle of fish. So that's the next thing. So like, do your stock inventory on your computer, and then also where you actually put it, because trying to find stuff is a nightmare. that's my idea.
That's definitely some good advice there for you. I'm going to put a link in chat for some of you guys in a few minutes. If you click on that link, that will allow your name to be shown on the actual chat. Otherwise, you just come up as Facebook user. So I'll just put that on now. Just finding the link. Here we go. Got about 50 million different screens up. So I'm just putting that in chat now, so everyone should get it. So if you're in the Facebook group and your name is coming up as Facebook user, as I can see a few, for example, Tech Central, they're coming up as Facebook user. Make sure you click that link, and that will allow your name to be shown on the live chat. It's just a funny thing Facebook has to do within groups for privacy and all this other rubbish. Anyway, let's just go through a few of the people. So we've got Neo Computers, you've got Paul, you've got Richard from Great Computer Services. I always say it, I always love the name of his company. We've got Daniel Stride as well. He's been on the show in the past. Good evening, Daniel. So that's pretty good. So right, let's go on to Will now. So Will, if you want to just introduce yourself, let everyone know who you are, what you do, and if you've got any stories or tips for us.
Hi folks, I'm Will, or Willie, from Consumer Tech, based in Dunfermline in Scotland, not far from Edinburgh. Just made it tonight, so I'm absolutely just, one of my tips that I'm going to make, the reason I was nearly late tonight is because overcommitting yourself. I've overcommitted today, trying to help people out with different things, answering emails, answering phone calls, trying to be somewhere twice and deliver computers. I think just take a breath, speak to your customers, let them know that you're not going to make it in time, or you're going to, have to reschedule for the next day. Just be honest with them and try not to make everybody happy at the same time. Because I feel that's what I've tried to do today, is just try to make everyone happy. And it's fortunate we're talking about customer service, because then sometimes you have to let people down and they're annoyed because they're waiting on you coming at 5 o'clock. You could have told them in the afternoon that you're going to be late, so it's just kind of backfired a bit on me today. So I've learned from it, and it's a good tip from Ian as well about your inventory, because looking around my office just now there, I need to get my inventory sorted out as well in the place where I'm going to put it. So my tip, that's pretty much it. Just take a breather for yourself, and don't overcommit. The problem will still be there tomorrow, and try and do it. So I've just literally sat in the seat. So that's my tip for now.
Right, that's pretty good. I guess it's a good start. So we've also got Nicola saying hi or good evening, everyone. And we've also got Steve from D-Tech. Nicola also saying she's from Saxon as well. So welcome, Nicola. Let's have a look what we've got on the agenda today. So first of all, obviously, it's me introducing myself. If you don't know who I am, I'm Phil from Tech for Techs. I also own Chips Computers, and Tech for Techs, well, you should know who they are if you're watching, but if you don't, we're basically a group of 1,250 plus UK members, which is basically retail stores, independents and stuff like that. We've also got vendors and distributors in the group, and obviously I run the group along with Jen, who owns it. She's not on the show tonight, but you'll see her definitely on the show here and there. So my tip for today is Facebook reveals its video camera glasses with Ray-Ban. They're so advanced you can take photos and videos. To me, that doesn't sound that advanced, to be honest with you, because I'm pretty sure about 5 years ago, Snapchat did exactly the same thing, and I've even got proof there. So the state-of-the-art glasses aren't that state-of-the-art, and they look very similar, to be honest with you, without the little bit of yellow around the lenses. But there we go. So that's going to be Facebook's new toy, apparently. So to be honest with you, if you can record videos without anyone else knowing, is this just going to be like a pervert's best tool, to be honest with you? There's going to be all sorts of weirdos hanging around different places and recording stuff when people don't realise. On top of that, we've got NVIDIA Super Series graphics cards likely to arrive in January. Again, this is all rumour, so that may or may not. And who knows what price they'll come in at. They'll probably come in at about 10 grand. And also on top of that, we've got the 40 series due in October. That's not this October, that's October 2022. Again, that's all rumour, so who knows if we will actually see any of this stuff on time and at a decent price. Right, okay, so let's move on to the main topic. So customer service 101. So let me go around the room. Obviously, guys in chat, if you've got any comments about customer service, you can even comment on some bad experiences, where you've bought stuff or where customers have been to you and different ways you've solved those issues or maybe not solved them. Feel free to comment in the chat section. Obviously, please don't name any real people names, so just call everyone Bob or I don't know, Janet or Jane or whatever you want to do. So right, let's start off with Tim. Let's go to you first. What are some of your customer service musts or do's? What sort of things do you do?
I think the things I always do is I always ask the questions to the customer direct that I know I'm going to need to know. If it's a laptop repair, does it have a password? If so, what is it? Because you can't always get onto the drive just to turn the drive and turn it into a hotspot drive to get the data off it. Sometimes you need a password if it's bitlocked or encrypted anyway somehow. And then really the other one is just to go through with the customer after the initial consultation. We'll say what they've asked for, just to make sure, so you can kind of make that say, right, that's what we've agreed to, so they can't come to you later and say we never agreed to it, or I understand it. I find it's better to have that 20, maybe 15, 20 minutes, sometimes even half an hour consultation. They know what they're likely to get back at the end of the day.
That's it. Also gives you a chance to find out if what they're wanting is actually what they want, because a lot of time customers buy things which aren't correct. So the amount of times we get people coming in, can I have a dongle? Well, that can mean 10 million different things. It can mean some rude things as well sometimes. But you sometimes trying to actually understand what the customer wants is sometimes a big part of the customer service, because obviously if you sell them something, even though they've asked for the wrong thing, they take it home, it doesn't do what they want, and that can cause lots of issues. So yeah, I must agree with you there. Is communication, especially listening, is definitely a big thing you need to do. Let's move on to Ian then. So Ian, what's your stance on customer service? How do you go about it?
I am completely and utterly 100% honest with my customers, and I think Richard brought it up, and I think and it echoes kind of what Tim was saying as well about people's perceptions about what they want, and also about what you can do. I've had 3 really good examples the last couple of weeks where, especially honesty, has paid dividends. One was a laptop that I had in that I actually ruined myself because I ripped the battery connector off, because it's one of those horrible ones. The laptop works fine on power, but I just ripped the damn thing off. And I phoned the parent and I said, look, I've done this. I've broken it. It works, but I've broken the power connector. So I am going to do this, this and this. Or I can replace your laptop. I said, just let me know what you want me to do. And they said, please repair it, which I did. Gave him a loan machine, dealt with all that, sent it off to one of the tech guys in the group. He managed to repair it. I didn't ever think that he would, to be honest, but works perfectly well. Customer's very, very happy. And she said to me, "You didn't have to say that." And I said, "Well, I did, because A, it wouldn't have worked if it weren't on power, and B, it would have been dishonesty of me not to say what I've done. You know, it's a horrible thing to have happened, but I've done it. So I hold my hands up, and if I have to buy you a new machine," which I did buy another exact replica of their machine, to give him if he wanted that to have happened. Another one was PS5 repair that I had this week, that sent off again to the same person for an HDMI. I said, "I don't do them. I'm not good at soldering. I will ruin it. I know what to do, but I will just make a pig's ear of it. So I will send it off, and they will charge you X amount of money, and that will be the cost with postage." And he was, "Thanks very much." I said, "You can go around the corner, because I know matey did round the corner, does it?" And he goes, "No, you trust your people. You know the people you're going to be sending it to. So that makes me happy." So yeah, I sent it off to one of our good guys in the group who has repaired it for me, and the customer's really happy, and I haven't had to touch it. So it's just being honesty, also being honest with your pricing, and I think as Will said as well, do not overcommit, and probably a tip as well is really get your diary up to date, because I did forget to do someone's job actually the last week, one of my regulars, and I did apologise today, where you've got some when you get those busy periods. Sometimes the customer service can lack a little bit, which is bad, because it reflects badly on you, and the customer will go, "Oh, he's not very reliable," and obviously, they will just go elsewhere, which I don't want to do. Although I do support my other local guys as well. But yeah, just being open with your people and being honest about what you can and can't achieve for the money they want to pay. Sometimes they say, "I want this for that," and you go, "It's not going to happen. You ain't going to get it." So boom. That's what I see. Customer service is key, but you've also got to think about yourself and your business and about protecting you, because whatever you say can have a direct reoccurrence on yourself as well and your business. But yeah, just be open. Customers love you being honest.
Okay, some pretty good tips there. Yeah, definitely agree with pretty much all of that, to be honest with you. And yeah, it is sometimes hard to keep up with all the work we're getting, especially when there's different stages. Some are repair, some are sales, some are needing to get sent out, and you've got to order parts, and it can get easy to get things mixed up. But being honest, yeah, that's definitely a must. Always be truthful, because to be honest, if you lie, in most cases, most people are not very good at lying, and there's telltale signs there, and the other person will probably figure it out, to be honest with you. So I take it you're not very good at lying then, Ian.
I'm hopeless at lying. People see right through me. Always been from a young boy, so I don't bother now. Not even little white lies. I just can't do it. I just go, "No, I've done this and I've done that," and if you don't like it, it's tough. But that's the truth,
That's it. Obviously, then deal with the issue. Obviously, if you have done something, everyone makes mistakes. No one's 100%. The big places do it. Small places do it. No one's perfect. Don't get me wrong. There's probably one or two viewers on here who think they may be perfect, but I don't think anyone is actually. Right. So let's have a look what some of the comments are saying. So first of all, we've got Cormac. He says, "Brill by Ian. He made a mistake, told the truth, and the customer is happy. It's not about making mistakes. It's about how you handle it." Yeah, good comment there, Cormac, as always. Next, we've got... one's just popped off my screen. Let's just get that back on. I think it was Nicola. Yeah, here we go. Tip from me, when talking to a customer, talk to them about them until the rapport is built. So yeah, build up like sort of a friendship. They are not interested. They do not trust you. Once they trust you, the power is in your hands. Yeah, that's it. In a lot of cases, if people have actually come to you in your store, half of the trust is there anyway, because they've actually gone out of their way and researched you, and obviously gone to your store, or obviously called you if you're a home tech or something along that lines, or MSP. So yeah, must agree with you there. We've also got Richard as well commenting. Actually, we've got another one from Nicola. We've got, as long as there is trust, there should be no issues yet. I agree there. Facebook user, again, if you didn't already, Facebook user, click that link so your name can be seen. But honesty is always the best policy. Yeah, I think a lot of people are agreeing with you here, Ian, so that's good. And we've got Richard as well saying, I had a situation where I was recasting an iPod. There's still iPods around. The customer, it's probably a few years ago, the customer had bent the case on it, and the process of removing the main board and the tape holding it suddenly gave, snapping the main board in two. Had to tell the customer, but I bought a replacement of that, and then it cuts off. Let's have a look. And that customer that brought a replacement, that was slightly upgraded, customer were happy. Yeah, there you go. What you have to do is a lot of times expect things to go wrong, because they will. No one's perfect. Either you'll get something wrong, you'll repair it wrong, you'll order the wrong part. Just make sure you add those costs into your overall pricing on everything you do to cover the costs if you ever do go wrong. And it's going to happen. Everyone does. I'm going to say, for example, I took my truck in for needed a warranty recall part. They had it in all day. They ordered, and basically the part they ordered in ended up being the wrong part, so I had to rearrange with them to do it. They were honest with me, telling me they could have made any story up or whatever, but they were honest and said, yeah, we actually made the mistake. We got the wrong part. Yeah, you do have to come in. It's a pain, but at least they were honest about it. And when people are honest, you can, it makes things a little bit better, to be honest with you. Most people have BS detectors and can figure out when people are lying to them, putting it politely. So, right, let's move on to Will then. Will, you're up next. Do you have any other tips or advice regarding customer service?
Yeah, I think, as everyone says, it's always important to be honest with your customer, whether you make mistakes or not. I had a customer that I was working with for about 18 months, and long and short of it is we kept going round in circles over setting up email, how they wanted this done and that done, and I'd done it for them, and they said it wasn't working, and it was working, it wasn't working. So got to the stage where actually I had to just say, look, my services are not meeting your standards, so I'm going to remove myself from this situation. And that's also part of being honest as well with your customer, that know your limitations. And like Ian saying, send it to other people in the group for repairs. I've done that myself. I've explained to the customer I'm going to do that. And I use the guys within the group quite a lot, actually. You build up a rapport with your guys within the group. And just be honest from the point of view that, if mistakes happen, you're being honest. But if you can't do something, or if you're not meeting their standards that they want, be honest again. And I didn't do it in a derogatory manner or anything. I was diplomatic about it, and basically it was a user problem, but I didn't directly say that to them. But being honest and just knowing your limits as well, what you can and can't do, and if they're not happy with it, then advise them to go elsewhere in a nice way. So be nice, just be honest with your customers. General topic I think tonight is just generally be honest with them and explain them, because it does pay back. And if you tell lies, it's going to come back and bite in the bum. It's always going to catch up with you, next week or 2 months' time, or something's going to come back and catch you anyway. So
Yeah, there's definitely some good points there. According to a survey, what I looked at from Oracle, 86% of customers will not use a business again after they've had a bad customer service. So obviously customer service can be the make and break of any business. So if your customer service is bad, then obviously you're going to turn people away, and obviously it doesn't matter how big or small your business is, you need to basically make sure you've got good customer service. And as you scale up your business, you need to obviously scale that up as well. Most people I've spoke to, or in the past, usually most people think customer service is just treating a customer nicely when they have an issue or a problem, but in reality I find it's so much more. Customer service should also be, let's put it this way, should provide basically a customer before, during and after a sale. So you should basically give this a good customer service when you're trying to sell the product in or before. So obviously the customer service could be a a good website, good ways of communicating online, for example, if you've got live chat and stuff like that. Then obviously during the sale as well, if they come in your store or on the phone, it can be a product or a service you're selling, that's obviously up to you. And then after the sale as well. So that's obviously if anything goes wrong, or potentially you may want to communicate with the customer afterwards to get feedback of how well you've done. Obviously, give them a chance to review you as well, obviously, if they give you good feedback and stuff like that. So some things to think about there. Does anyone in the chat have any other experiences of basically customer service, either whether it's good, wrong? Where do you start your customer service? Do you have any sort of form of processes to help with your customer service, whether it's sound in a certain way when you answer the phone, so like a procedure or something like that? So when you answer the phone and you say, hey, this is Bob from Bob's Computers, how may I help you today? Do you have a certain procedure, or do you just get the staff to pick up the phone and say, hey, Bob's Computers, or something along that lines? Because obviously, depending on how you actually talk to people, will actually put them off before they actually even come into the store. And the same goes for your website. Nicola just posted on there. Yeah, let's have a look what she's saying. So, yeah, some people are just out for an argument. Yeah, we've all seen the Karens. Sorry if anyone's called Karen watching this, but there's lots of Karens around. If you're not sure who a Karen is, Google it, YouTube it, you'll find out. So, unfortunately, this includes business people. She says, as long as you know that you have tried your best and done everything in your power to assist, then that's all that matters. Yeah, I totally agree there. Also, while you're trying to obviously help them, put yourself in their shoes as well. Think how that problem would affect you, and then obviously think of what would make you happy, and in a lot of cases that's also what would make the customer happy. It may not be obviously replacing something straight away. It might be like Ian did, giving a was it a trial laptop or what would you use? Yeah, something like that as an alternative. Yeah, that's a good idea. That is, I must admit. Cormac is saying, show up to a job on time. So, yeah, be punctual is definitely a good thing. Do any of you guys go directly to people's houses or anything like that?
Yep.
Yeah, so do you warn them or notify them you're on your way, or if you're running late or anything along that lines?
I usually try and either give them a call, or some say, can you send me a text, or some even just say pin me on like Facebook Messenger or something like that if they can't jump to the phone. And yeah, if I don't know, as Cormac says, sometimes if I don't know where somewhere is, I'll turn up, I'll set a time and I'll aim to be there half an hour early and then go find a coffee shop or something around the corner. So quite often it pays off, because if I'm going between jobs, I have no chance to stop for something to eat myself anyway. So it's actually a good way of having a break. So you're a bit calmer from if you had an awkward customer from before, we'll say.
Yes, I think we all have them.
I think it's always important to communicate with your customer. I mean, I had a customer, unfortunately, I had to let her down 4 times. So I turned up with a £4 box of chocolates, which saved me a negative review. And she said, oh, you didn't really have to. You were always communicating with me to let her know it was one thing after another. So, yeah, it's just communicate with the customer. Whether you're in the wrong or not, communicate with the customer and take the little thing. I mean, for a £4 box of chocolates, it did save me, it made me sort of popular again with her. So to use my services again several years later and things like that as well. So, yeah, communication.
Yeah, that's good.
I think always turn up on time. I'm quite a meticulous planner about where I've got to go. I'm quite good with directions and stuff, so I always pre-plan. But yeah, I always have their number on my phone if I'm in the car and I'm stuck in the jam. Then give them a call and say, look, I'm stuck in traffic. I'm on way to you, but I'm going to be about 10-20 minutes late, and they're usually fine. Or if you turn up early, they go, oh, I didn't expect you to come this early. I say, well, I'm only 5 minutes early. And they're like, oh. And you go, that's all right. I can come back if you want. No, come on in. And,
yeah,
I've had a few. I've had a few like that where I've had to go back and sit in the car for 5 minutes because they're still having the breakfast or getting ready or dressed or whatever it may be. But one of the things I do, I'm going to say, do you guys ever have issues where you turn up to customers' houses and they forget you're coming or anything like that? So they forgot they've made an appointment or anything like that? No.
I don't have that many because of the way I work. I tend to be able to book my meetings a day in advance, maybe. So I will always say to them, "I'll come and see you tomorrow evening," which is usually after my other working day finishes. I'll go straight to them, so I know that it's fresh, and they're like, "I'll be there between 1:30." I tend now to give a time scale, so I'll say I'll be there between 5:30 and 6. So that gives me some flexibility. That knowing where I live at the moment, the traffic's been a nightmare. They shut the road because of accidents, so it gives me a half-hour sort of leeway, really. So if I do get there at 5:45, they're not disappointed because I'm not late. But I always try and say I'll be there at 6. Like Cormy says, you get there at 5:02, 10:02, and it just shows that you're on the ball. And again, it's just that extra bit of customer service, isn't it? They like a reliable person, and if they think you're reliable with your timekeeping, they're going to think that what you're doing with their computer, you're just as reliable.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
So, I mean, I've got some customers that they come under the older generation. So, how do you put it? Some of them are a bit not forgetful, but they do rely on writing everything down. These little black books of passwords are quite a common occurrence. We'll say, what was the password last week? And luckily for me, I've got a pretty good. Unfortunately, I've got a good memory for passwords, silly combinations that people would normally forget. So I'm usually pretty good at remembering other people's passwords, including their own ones. But yeah, quite often I've turned up once or twice and someone did forget, but they only because I'd sent them a reminder. I tried calling them about 15 minutes earlier. Yeah, it wasn't a problem for them because they weren't in having tea or anything like that, or they rearranged because it was something they forgot or not, and they did need their key to fix, so it was ready. We'll say. So
yeah, I think one of the pieces of software I use actually sends out an email beforehand, or you can get to send an email or a text message 10 minutes before, a day before, so it schedules it. And one of the things I've noticed with actually Gmail now is you can schedule emails to be sent out. So anyone that's using Gmail for their business, you can schedule an email to send out the day before just to remind the customer that you're coming along. It's a useful thing. There's lots of free software out there, scheduling software that you can use as well. So.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That was the next thing I was going to mention, actually, is doing some sort of scheduling. We use a program called AppToto. I'll put that on the screen for anyone who doesn't know. There we go. And that basically ties in with your Google Calendar, and it'll send people reminders. So text messages, phone calls, emails. So, and then, I can see you're all typing that in there to have a look. So basically, there is a cost to it every month, but it does allow you to send out reminders, and you can actually put special codes in there. So, for example, when I've been round to see the customer, I'll put on my Google Calendar BG, which means that they've just bought Bullguard off of me. So roughly, and I can set it up so the code BG, if that's on the calendar, it will automatically send them a message in 11 and a half months' time saying, your Bullguard's ready for renewal, give us a call and we'll renew it for you. And it's all automated, so it saves us having to mess around. So that's AppToto. Which is pretty good. There's probably a few other ones around. As you said, Google's got the email one built in. Paul's saying that he uses Thunderbird that has an extension for schedule and sending email. So that's similar sort of thing called Send Later. That's good, Paul. So a little app like that can make a lot of difference. We used to get a lot of issues where customers didn't show up for jobs, or should I say, we'd turn up at jobs and they forget we were coming, or no one was in, and then you'd see the curtain twitching upstairs where they've actually sorted the issue out and forgot you were coming and they don't want to pay you or something daft like that. So we implemented this, and actually it's been saved a lot, even though I can't remember the exact price off the top of my head. It's probably about 25-40 quid or something a month, which sounds expensive, but when we were getting probably 1 or 2 not shows every week, it pays for itself within basically a week. So it's pretty good, to be honest with you. I do recommend giving something like that a try if you're going to be dealing with customers. You probably can use it a lot better than I use it, but you can put your own voice on there. You can have an automated voice. It's pretty good, to be honest with you. It's a bit like doctor surgery. I don't know if you ever had one of those reminders from a doctor surgery where it rings you and gives you an automated message saying your appointment's at 5 p.m. with Chips Computers or whatever it may be. Right, let's have a look.
Sorry, Phil. With regards to things like that, I'm looking at My Gadget Repairs or one of these other computer repair software things where you do all your inventory and your invoicing. Is there anything like this that can be? Because I remember from the group, one of the guys was saying that My Gadget Repairs, you can email them and that they will implement what you want into that software. So I'm wondering if they will be able to do something like this, whether it will auto sync together. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Ian, I used My Gadget Repair for a while, and I moved over from Repair Shopper at the time, and they implemented everything I had. They're really helpful. You know, the developing team's really good, and it's a good one to integrate what Phil was saying. So you should contact them and ask them. The guys are quite really good to integrate software into it, and they're always looking for suggestions. There's many other good, well-known companies out there as well. So yeah, they're good.
Yeah, I'm going to sign up to them actually. So I've emailed them about another thing.
Yeah.
For my inventory. So I'll ask that question.
Yeah, sounds pretty good. You might find, obviously, they may have to have if they haven't already, I've not used that software, but you have to pay for, obviously, sending text messages or calls or whatever within it, so there might be an extra charge to it. But generally, with the App Toto, what we use, again, this isn't an affiliation link or anything like that before anyone goes and making money off it. I'm not. It's just something we've been using for about 10 years, which saves us time and money. But there's probably plenty of others out there what do a very similar thing. But yeah, if you can get it tied into your ticketing system, that'd be ideal. Let's have a quick look at some of the chat. We've got Richard saying had one customer got drunk the night before and slept in. He doesn't normally forget. He nearly had the police breaking his door down for a welfare visit. Okay.
Oops.
There we go. I think we've all seen a few issues, so let's have a look. Yeah, here we go. Peter's had to restream. Yeah, it might be a Facebook thing, Peter. And I'm guessing that was your comment then below from Facebook user. I think some of those CRM tools have a warranty function that can have automizations and emails or SMSs and software renewals. So yeah, I think some of them probably do. Depends on how deep they actually go. So that's a problem with a lot of things what are tagged into other programs. They're not always as in depth, but sometimes they are, so you'll have to double check. So that's pretty good. Right, does anyone else who's watching have anything they would like to comment about? Bad experiences, a bit like Richard had? Anything to do with customer service and how you made it better or anything along that way, and how you sorted out, or even what you do when things do go wrong. Right, let's go back to Tim, Ian, and Will. Do you guys have anything else what you do to basically help the customer service flow?
Yeah, I think if someone brings in, someone just books me and say, can I look at a laptop to simple change, like change keyboard, for example. A certain two-letter acronym, we will say, make a laptop. That we all know and love doing servicing on. But yeah, the customer bought this thing in, and this was actually this week or mid last week. though they brought it in, what they didn't neglect to mention is they'd done some self-DIY on this thing before, and they hadn't used the proper tools to open it, and the plastic chassis was cracked where they just essentially looks like they just got electrical screwdrivers and jamming the plastic over it so it all cracked in the side. And the top bit where one of the hinges held the screen on was physically cracked around it, so I knew too much pressure, that was just going to pop and the whole thing, the chassis would be dead and buried. I was brutally honest with the customer and I said to her, I would get another machine, it's not worth it, and change the keyboard. So half the keyboard was dead and the chassis was gone, so cost of the part was, I'm looking at about £150 worth of parts, for example. And probably about, if I use their existing chassis, I was honest and I said, I can't trust it's guarantee it's going to go back as it should do. I'd say, I go back to the honesty thing, but if they love it and they cherish it, and that was this cut, what was the situation here? Quote, I mean, I've had it 5 years, it still works. Yeah, it might work, but someone's gone and done a DIY job and they've broken the whole chassis on it. I can't take it apart without risking further damage to the actual machine itself. So honesty is the best thing. If you see it and it is beyond economical, then I would say, be honest with them. It's a bit like the car scenario where someone's got rust in the wrong part and it's just gone. Even if someone loves it, I think that's what I'd say there.
Yeah, must agree there. I'm going to say we get a lot of laptops similar to that, and we'll basically refuse to repair them, to be honest, because we just know it's going to cause more problems than it's actually worth repairing them. I've seen numerous where people have tried to swap out the hard drives with SSDs and they can't figure out how it opens up and they just bend the chassis open and stuff like that. And,
that's exactly what it's like.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen quite a few like that over the years. And then the hinges held together by all sorts of things where people have made their own hinges. They've used duct tape and bits of cardboard and all sorts. So once it gets to a certain degree, we're like, no, this is just not going to be worthwhile messing with. But other people might fix it, but I don't think... a lot of time it's going to be worthwhile for us or them, because we just know it's going to cause more issues where something's going to break or whatever, or someone's going to get electrocuted and blame us for it. So Nicholas, who's quite active tonight, so nice to have you on from LinkedIn as well. One of the bugbears is people / businesses not sticking to a promise. If a promise has been made, and they realise a mistake has been made with that promise, how would you guys deal with that? Oh, that's a good question for you guys. So if you've promised something and they realise a mistake, what would you do? So as in you didn't actually do the job. Let's start with you, Ian, first. Not to pick anyone specific.
That's a good one. I think it probably comes back to one of my early ones, but if I made a promise to someone and I couldn't stick to it, I would own up. But if it was on the other foot, from my perspective, I would own up and I would fix it. I would say, this is what's happened. I promised you this. It's not going to happen because either I can't get the part, or it's the wrong. I've ordered the wrong one, or there's something wrong with your laptop that I didn't know about. That's an additional thing. Then I would work with them to fix it. On the other hand, if someone's promised me something, and I've had this recently quite a lot actually with business, not with our distributors but other people, where they've promised the world and I'm chasing them daily. So where's this? Even when after I've paid them money, and their customers, and it's almost like an energy company. They give you the big spiel about what they're going to do and what they're going to do, and we can do this for you, we can do that for you, and they don't deliver. And you say, well, where's my value for money? We've got a contract, you're not fulfilling it. What are you going to do? And they go silent. That really gets my goat. So I always say to myself, if I've got a contract with someone, if someone's paid me some money, then I would honour that and I would refund it if I can't do the job or I've done something wrong. It is a very good question. I think it comes around to that trust and honesty thing, and how and you treat people how you want to be treated. Because and it's the same with personal and business. Because if I'm dealing with a business and I'm finding it with the big boys as well, if they're not giving you the service that they want, and and I can buy things from some of my auction houses or suppliers that I buy things from, I have to pay them immediately. Sometimes I'm chasing them for weeks for actual the products that I've bought, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll just do it. We'll send it when we can." And it's like, no, you chase me for something and I've got to pay instantly. I would like you to dispatch my items within 2 or 3 days. Not just forget about me until I moan and moan and moan. So I just deal with. I would expect them to be dealing with me the way I deal with other people.
Yeah, I must admit I get that quite a lot with vendors and distributors, and certain promises. They want you to sign up, do this, that, and the other, and then you want something from them, and it's like it takes a week to reply to a message, and it's like, where is it? And then 3 days later, it's like, oh, it'll be on its way soon, and you're thinking, Let's go over to Will. Will, how would you approach that question? Would it be any different than Ian?
Pretty much just the same. I think trust is a big thing that's lacking in the world just now. A lot of trust, but yeah, if I'm paying for a service or paying for products, I'm going to expect to get that product and that service. And if you have to return things, one thing's coming to mind just now. I had to return a screen because it was faulty, and the person just deducted 50% of it for a reshelving because he said it wasn't faulty. And I had pictures taken, thankfully. I took pictures and I worked with them, and there was a bit of to and forward and going back and forth. But I think just working with people, putting a bit of trust into some people, you need to have a bit of trust there, and taking deposits and, or paying for something and then waiting for a while and getting it. And yeah, it's a crazy world. And I think that we need to put some more trust back into some people, and given what we're going through. So yeah, just pretty much what Ian was saying. Yeah, just if you promise something, just try and stick to it. If you can't fulfill that promise, then speak to them, work with the customer, put your hands up, you made a mistake again, and just be honest. I think that's the big word tonight, is honesty.
That's pretty good. And let's go to you as well, Tim. So what's your answer to that question?
Yeah, pretty much similar. If I've made a promise and then there's some, say for it sounds silly, but as you say about getting the right part, all you need is the wrong. With laptops, for example, they're all, how many different variations are there on one particular laptop, for example? Particularly keyboards, for example, there's certain ones that fit ones and ones that don't fit others. So yeah, be honest with the customer and say, I've ordered the wrong part. I'll get the other one sorted out and have a conversation with them to resolve it. But likewise, I think it works if it's from the customer's perspective. I've had this with some business-to-business customers that where I set up an arrangement with them, and they sign the contract. They know I'm there to support them. I'm not there exclusively for them, but I'm there to support them. They say, okay, no, don't worry, I'll provide the machine, you just get it working on my system. That's fine, but then the problem is they provide what they've sourced, and then it's not fit for purpose, or it needs. Prime example, one of my business customers wanted the machine, and then he decided to go off do an eBay special, which was missing the graphics card, which meant they couldn't dual screen it. Just an actual example. Now, the customer expects me to try and find graphics card out of my money to support that when it's a whole new bit of kit they agreed to take the responsibility of. So again, it was a conversation piece with the customer where trying to meet, not call them out, not say that you're wrong, you sourced it, but pull the blame, but have a conversation with them at the end of the day and educate them that they need to be more careful who they're buying from if they want to source the kit and me and I service for them. So yeah.
Pretty good answers there, to be honest. One of the things I learned pretty early in trading is don't promise anyone. Basically, we'll always say we'll do our best, we'll give it 100%, but don't make an actual promise, because anything can happen. But what we'll do is, obviously, if we've told the customer that it's going to be something specific or whatever, let's just say there is an issue with something we've done, obviously we'll replace it, fix it, whatever it may be. One of the common things is obviously like you get failures in solid state drives, hard drives, whatever it may be. We'd obviously cover that and fix it and so on. So personally, again, I wouldn't necessarily promise, but I would obviously say we'll do our best. We don't promise anything because we can never foresee what's going to be around the corner, and you can't. But that's one reason why we always, for example, on repairs, we have a diagnostics. We do a diagnostics on the machine first to figure out what the issue is, which we do charge for, but the customer gets refunded that or gets the price of that deducted from the final bill if they go ahead with a repair. So we know what the problem is. So we try not to obviously get into that situation, but stuff happens, putting it politely. And I nearly swore live on air then, but stuff does happen. And sometimes you may order something, and let's just say you did order something and you promised the customer that this new laptop you were supplying them did come with a DVD drive, and it comes, you give it them, or you didn't check it, or you did check it and it didn't come with a DVD drive. Then obviously we'd work with the customer, obviously call them up and say, right, that laptop we ordered, even though they stated it come with a DVD drive, it doesn't. We've got two solutions for you. We can either chuck in for free an external DVD drive, which is worth 35 quid or whatever, or we can source you another model, but we will find one for the same price for you that does have a DVD drive if they are available. Obviously, sometimes you just can't always do everything. Worst case scenario, refund or whatever is always the option, but I can count the number of times we've given refunds out on one hand since we've been trading over the last 5 years. So I think, to my knowledge, we've given them 3, maybe 4 refunds, and I think 2 of those were for inks, which didn't work. So other than that, we've not given much in the way of refunds out. I remember one customer was... you'll probably actually find it on our Facebook page, or it was Google page, or whichever, on the reviews. And he basically came in, wanted the cheapest laptop he could get for the cheapest price because he'd smashed up his old laptop, but he wanted to be comparable to his old laptop. But he didn't tell us what his old laptop was, and he'd only got like 150 quid to spend. And it's like, well, this is what we've got for 150 quid. He takes it, then he's unhappy because it's not as fast as his old laptop. And it's like, well, it's hard for us to compare it to your old one. And turns out his old one ended up being something like an i7 processor and all this, and he spent like 700-800 quid on it. And it's like, well, what do you expect? If you're buying a laptop for 150 quid, it ain't going to be the same as one for what's worth £800. Funny thing is, the customer ended up going to PC World and buying a new laptop and spending something like 800 quid again, and getting a tablet as well on top, even though he said he got no money and only 150 quid, and then it was like our fault. And it's like, well, if you come in with 150 quid, whatever, but fine, we'll honour that, we'll refund you for it. And we refunded for it, no question. Obviously, you end up getting that bad review, but again, it's how you respond to the bad reviews. So that can sometimes get you more customers than if you didn't have any bad reviews. So always make sure you respond nicely with facts to reviews. And that's one thing I must admit you need to do or have to do. Right, so has anyone else on chat got anything else they would like to add? I'm just looking at the chat. Let's have a look. We've got Nicholas saying 100% agree with Ian and Will. She don't like you, Tim, so don't worry about that one. I'm pretty sure she does. We've also got Kunal as well saying 100% satisfaction. Hi, Kunal, you just logged in as well. And Richard saying, I never promised anything. Yeah, similar to me, other than try and provide what they need. Yeah, and that's the way I go about it. Not promise anything. I find the promise is something you'd probably say to your missus or something for your parents when you're a kid or whatever. Promising something can sometimes get you in trouble. So make sure you say you can do your best, because you just never know what's around the corner or what's hidden underneath and what they've done beforehand, which is usually the case, that someone's usually messed about before you've usually got to it. So, right, any more for the chat? And does Ian or Will or Tim have anything else they'd like to add?
Yeah, I was, sorry.
Yeah, I think going forward, my last statement would probably be under promise, over deliver. Yeah. Don't promise anything, but if you can go that extra bit, then do it for the customer, because I think you get appreciated for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally
under
agree
promise,
with
over
that.
deliver. Definitely. And a good
So I
thing what
think-
makes customers. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, sorry. I think a good example there where I made, let's say, one parent quite happy. They wanted an upgrade. They asked for a 1 terabyte secondary drive for game installs. I quoted them for the 1 terabyte, and the vendors quite literally just that I used for the drive, they had a 2 terabyte for the same price. Got them the 2 terabyte instead. Kid was hilariously happy, and so was the dad as well, because it turned into they could both use it rather than just the kid flooded it with his games, for example. So yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good as well. And Ian, I think you had something you wanted to say as well.
Yeah, I was just going to flip it on his head actually, and just ask you guys and the chat about what customer service do you expect from vendors and retailers and trading online? Because I think it goes back to something that I think Will and you said, Phil. I deal an awful lot of my business on eBay and Amazon, and I think Will mentioned about trust and people taking the mick, and the world's gone crazy, and scamming, especially online, is just rife. And I find the service that I get, as I'm a paying seller on, for example, Amazon, and the service that you get from Amazon as a seller is disgraceful. But what do you think? What's your perception? I mean, when we're dealing with our disties, for example, I mean, I've had some cracking service from Elf today, and yesterday I've had cracking from Target in the past, where they've helped me out very, very quickly on a damaged item that you've received. How do you? I for me personally, I would expect, as I've said throughout this thing, to have the level of service that I'm giving on to my customers as well, that because I then become a customer of theirs. And I find some disties and vendors and online retailers, they don't. Sometimes it's the bigger they are, the less they care, especially about the small guy. What's your perceptions of that, guys?
I'll go first. Right. Obviously, I want to be treated exactly the same as we treat our customers. And I must admit, in general, we've had some pretty good experiences. I remember, what was it? Something not turning up, or there was an issue with the delivery, it got lost, sent to the wrong warehouse or whatever. And it was actually an order from Target, actually. So thumbs up to Target. And they basically got me the order together again and shipped it me out that day and delivered it that day. They actually had a special courier go directly from them to us. Don't get me wrong, we're not the furthest away, but we're still an hour and a half away, roughly. So that's a 3-hour round trip. They got a courier specially to do it. I don't think the order was probably a massive, maybe 800 quid, maybe 1,000 or something like that. It wasn't huge, but it was something that we needed then and there. And they went above and beyond. I find that the only customer service I find lacking in a lot of vendors or distributors is the returns policies. Is probably the worst things for me. Sending stuff back, and then you have to wait 2-3 weeks for a return, a replacement, or for them to test it to see it's working. I understand it has to be done, but it just ends up, obviously, if you've got a customer waiting at the other end, it's like, right, I've either got to tell the customer they've got to wait 3 weeks for the brand new item they're going to have brought, what doesn't work, or I've got to pay for it out of my own pocket and then find out the distributor won't refund me for it and they'll only send the one back that repaired or whatever. That's what I don't like. I do see that CMS distribution, they're pretty good with their return policies. I had a graphics card. I managed to buy a graphics card a few months ago. I can't remember what brand it was, but I had an issue with it. Basically, it'd been in customer's machine for about 2-3 days or something like that, and then it just wouldn't post, basically. As soon as I took the card out and put another one in, the machine worked. So we knew it was a card, sent it back, and they basically sent me pretty much a new one the next day, sort of thing. So didn't have any issues with them at all. And a lot of the vendors they've been working with, I'm not saying all of them, obviously they'll have to answer that themselves, but I'm pretty sure a lot of them they're working with it's returned direct to the distributor rather than having to mess about with vendors and stuff. Nothing worse. I've seen a few people posting about Gigabyte returns recently. I can't remember who was that. It wasn't you by any chance, was it, Ian?
No.
I read that. I've seen a few people having issues. For example, Gigabyte guys. If Gigabyte's watching, or if anyone knows anyone in Gigabyte, please tell them to watch this. I used to have quite a few contacts at Gigabyte until they decided. Well, most of them left and went elsewhere. Let's put it that way. But having to send stuff back to the vendor rather than a distributor, then wait 3 weeks and then get another one back and then find it doesn't work or the repair doesn't work. It's just not acceptable. It's ideally, if it's something, especially if it's only a week or too old, we want just a direct replacement sort of thing. It's hard enough trying to keep customers as it is rather than having to deal with stuff. And I know a few times I've had to go out of my own pocket and buy another replacement for someone because the warranty return was just going to take too long to get it sorted. So that's my answer to that one. So I'll leave the Tim and Will to answer the rest of it.
I think one of the best returns I've had was from VIP. It was 2 monitors. They missold me. I had to turn them. They refunded me and sent me 2 new monitors again. So thumbs up to VIP. They done that free of charge as well as an apology, and they were quite expensive monitors. You know, they weren't the cheapest of ones. So yeah, that's a positive customer feedback there for VIP. And Target as well. I've had no problems with Target. One company I've had issues with over the last month was Crucial Memory. A claim on a warranty SSD that went faulty. I sent them proof of postage, everything like that, but they lost it, and they're saying they can't process the return because I've not got proof of postage anymore. Sent it again. It's taken me absolutely about 6 weeks to get it sorted, and it was supposed to be delivered today actually, and I get another email from them saying we apologise, it's coming tomorrow from UPS. So yeah, disappointed with Crucial, and I've used their SSDs and ordered them a lot lately, so I won't be using them in a hurry again anyway. So.
Yeah, that's definitely a shame. I must admit, I do like to use companies that I know that you can either contact the vendor very easily, or all the stuff's used by directly by distribution. I've been using guys at Ortial. They're pretty good for SSDs memory. If there's any issues, generally you can get them on the phone, or they'll reply to you straight away and get you sorted. But again, there's probably other people who say other things. Over to you, Tim.
Yeah, I think I've seen likewise. I said you expect the same. I mean, I'm an independent, but I don't expect any different treatment to any of the bigger companies buying 10,000 units as opposed to I might be buying. And the best example I can give was when I had two laptops I needed screens for because that had been bought in for repair, and I'd ordered the right part. It was the right part number. The description was the same. I even rang the vendor up ahead of time just to say, double check, is this the right screen? Can you tell me the right screen for that laptop? I even gave them the serial number so they could check it. And the screen they sent me was, starters, it wasn't a 15-inch screen. It was a 14 or something like that. And there was 2 of these things. But yeah, so I think the fun I had there, it took them about 2 weeks. One of them was a 1 week turnaround, another one was 2 week turnaround to get the right screens in. All honesty, I think the hardest thing for me dealing with that was this was one of those companies, you try getting hold of them on the phone, they had a number on their thing, they never answered their phone. The only way to get hold of them was literally just to send a message to them, email to them, and wait for a response. And it was painful to say the least. But then I spoke to someone else that I do business to business links with, so like they get me to help them out and vice versa. Not far from me, and they said, "Oh, hang on, I've been in contact with them. This guy just bought about 20 or 30 screens in one go. They've been in contact. He said, "Oh, I can give him a phone call and I'll get a response within a day." And so, just that's what my done. But yeah, I haven't used it. If I want any screens from them now, I try and order it through that guy I do business to business with locally now, just to avoid the pain if they send me the wrong part again. So
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. I'm going to say we're actually past the hour mark, so I'm going to quickly go through a couple of things. Let's have a look. Kunal Sasa, how do you combat fraud, scams online or in store? It's not really a show about that, but we'll have a look at doing a show about that one, Kunal. Get some appropriate people on for it as well. Don't worry, Nicola. No problem for the questions. Actually, you can do me a favor, Nicola. If you can get someone in your marketing department to get hold of me, I'll send you my details over on LinkedIn later. But if you can get someone on your marketing department to get in contact, because Tech for Techs would definitely like to work with your company on various different things. We've got a trade show next year. We do reviews. We do the live shows. We work with other vendors and distributors with the likes, as we mentioned, Target. We've got Spire, CMS Distribution, CID, and so forth as well. And obviously vendors, well, you name it, they're pretty much a member of the group. It would be ideal if we could actually have some sort of conversation with you guys where we could see if there's any way we could work with you guys going forward. Right. That's my self-promotion over. So let's have a quick one on the Nicola. So what was the customer there? So, okay, we'll do this one quickly. So do you find it easy basically to talk to people face-to-face or over the phone, or is there any difference? I know my answer to that one, but what's yours?
Face-to-face, because then I find you can read body language straight away. Once you start bringing up an awkward subject, such as it's about to cost an X amount, you can tell if they're not quite being honest with the subject or the price, we will say. Phone's good, but you can read voices, yes, but not as good as you can read all these little body language.
I think you could sign
that we do. So
you could sign off a deal better face to face than you can over a telephone. Because if you start any jargon talk or any, like you say, Tim mentioned, any costing things, the phone's down and they're away trying to get something else and things like that. But I think face to face. But again, I suppose it's how you promote yourself on the telephone. I remember years ago working in contact centres. If you had a shirt and tie on or a uniform on, you always come across more professional on the telephone and chirpier and smiley. But that person on the telephone might not know that you're having a bad day, etc. So, whereas face-to-face, I think you can, it's always better face-to-face, but COVID stopped that for a while, haven't they?
What about you, Ian?
I think it depends on the type of business that you run. For me, for example, I work from home part-time, and most of my stuff is online, and I deal with an awful lot of people on the telephone. And I think you're right, Will, and I think and as Paul has said in chat as well about lost in translation, but I think I've got a lot of business, and I've a lot of my honesty will come over the phone, because people say to me, "Can you, like the PS5 repair, for example?" I said, "I don't do them." He phoned me. I said, "I just don't do them, but I can send it off to someone that does." And he was like, "Oh, right, okay." And I said, "But you can go locally or you can go elsewhere." And he went, "No, I trust you." And just the way, but I think it's the way you, as you say, Will, portray yourself over the telephone as well. Emails, lots. That's the worst thing, is email and the written word and reading between those lines. And I think because I'm quite a straight talking kind of individual, I don't like to beat around the bush sometimes. And my manager said this in my job: you have to think before you write and speak, even because sometimes I would just go, "Yeah, blah 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 blah, it's £1,000, da da da," and they're like, "Oh," and you never hear from them again. But I think you can also tell the people on the phone as well, the time wasters. especially when you give a price and you go, yes, 300 quid for that. Even though you haven't really looked into it properly, but you kind of know, you gauge who they are. They want something for 20 quid because they can get it around the shop for 25 pounds. You go, well, go around there and get it then. And they go, okay, yeah, I'll ring you back. And you think, yeah, I'll never hear from you again. The people that say, okay, that sounds fair. Oh, you know, can you tell me what you're going to do for that? And I say, well, it's this part, 3 hours labour. And they're like, yeah, I'll bring it down in 20 minutes. And you think, okay, this is my address. And they turn up at the door and go, there you go. So just the shop is easier. Face-to-face, definitely, every day of the week. But I don't work like that, so I've had to adapt.
I'll say, I mean, the way I work at the moment, I've got an office, but it's not directly on the shop, we say the high street, as it were. They have to give me a call, so I can call it, let them into the building. And one thing that I've certainly said to start with, it's the phone bit, just to get the confidence. And then once face-to-face happens, I generally find that's where you can go into the sell more, not the sell, but understanding them as a customer more than what you to start with. And then that's how I've got a lot of my repeat customers. I mean, today, all of the call-outs I had were repeat customers. So, and I'm not talking once, I'm talking twice, I'm talking recommendations, where I've got the families, like the multiple generations calling me as well. So it's not just the one, So I think at the end of the day, if you present yourself as a human being, you get, it comes back tenfold for future business at the end of the day. Yeah,
and you can show products as well. When people come around, I get 4 or 5 different laptops out within that price range and say, this does this does this has got this. And they're like, oh, I love that one. You go, okay, 400 quid. And you do it. But a lot of it's repeat customers. I'm getting a lot of recommendations, which is nice. And from tech and from other tech guys, which is good.
That's pretty good. Right, guys, it's that time. I'm just going to quickly read the comments in a second. My answer to that question, first of all, like face-to-face, you can see people's expressions and moods and different things. And you can see, obviously, the little facial expressions can mean slightly different things. I'm pretty good at reading those. Most probably people are, but you can tend to know if you're going in the right direction or you need to add something in. Video calls are good. Obviously you can't see everything, but you can actually see, in most cases, the video calls, you can see facial expressions, but again, depends on how good the picture is. And then phone calls and emails and texts at the bottom of the list, basically. So the more interaction you have, generally the better I find it is. So let me just really go quickly through the comments. So let's have a look. Nicola says, thank you. Oh, yes, I will be in touch, Nicola. Thank you. Let's have a look. Paul says a lot gets lost in translation in emails. Best to chat, phone, or face-to-face. Yeah, totally agree. Nicola then said, 100% agree, guys. You're definitely on the same wavelength. Thanks for having me on the live. That's absolutely fine. If you ever want to be on the live show, and that goes for anyone, just let us know. We can have you on, get your webcam on, mic, and so forth. We can pick subjects to fit your needs. We're on every Thursday at 8 p.m. Right, we've got Paul also saying, let's have a look. I'm not asking what's popping up in chat at the moment in the private chat. I only just saw the last bit, so I'm just going to ignore that and pretend I didn't see it. Paul's saying I've been fed up recently working with a couple of companies, sending emails back and forth. It has taken weeks to get 2 systems put into place, which could have been there's no excuse for that. Again, 30-minute phone call, you can fix something out, and a lot faster than messing about emails back and forth, miscommunication. And who remembers what you said 2 weeks ago when you sent the email 2 weeks ago? Best to have the conversation there and then get it over with. And I must admit, if I have an issue or anyone, I always pick the phone up rather than using the email. It's usually easier. Next, we've got Paul saying... waiting sometimes 48 hours for more replies. Yeah, pretty bad that is. And we've got Richard saying, had someone on the phone asking how much we would give him for his gaming laptop. I explained that without seeing it, it would be hard to say. Without seeing it, 300 to 500, bring it in and we'll give it a proper quote. Yeah, and I won't put Richard's on full screen. I think most of you have probably seen that anyway, but I can imagine what the word what finished with R actually is. So, right, guys, I just want to say thank you, everyone, for watching tonight. Thank you for Tim, Will, and Ian for joining on, obviously, the live screen. If you want to take part, let me know. You can contact me at info@techfortext.co.uk. You can also find us at the website, which, here we go, is techfortext.co.uk. And if you're interested in joining Tech for Text, if you're not a Tech for Text member, just go to that link down the bottom, which is techfortext.co.uk/join, and it'll give you all the rules, information to join, and you'll be joining over 1,250 UK-based members from vendors, distributors, resellers, MSPs, home techs, whatever you want to call them. We've got them all. On top of that, so I was going to say something there and I completely forgot what it was. But yeah, it's totally free to join. That was it. So there's no costs or anything associated with joining Tech for Text. Anyone can join as long as you are in the tech industry or the channel or whatever you want to call it. Otherwise, we will see you next week. We've got a show on Thursday at 8 o'clock. No idea what that actually is yet because the person I was going to do it with has cancelled at the last minute. So I'm going to be arranging one at the last minute. But there will be something on Thursday. So, what was that?
Fraud. Combat fraud.
Well, that's an option.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have a look at that, see if we can get anyone interested. So fraud, yeah, that's it. And the week after, we do have a show with Brazen. If you don't know who Brazen is, they are a gaming chair company. So they'll be on the show. You'll be able to get gaming chairs directly from CMS Distribution. I don't think then where it was from. So, but they will be on the show not next week, but the week after, and there may be a prize in there somewhere, but no confirmation of that one yet, so don't take my word for it and end up suing me if there isn't one. But otherwise, we'll see you all next week, guys, so see you next Thursday at 8 p.m. Thanks again for watching. See you next time.